Hello, my name is Emmanuel Rocha Campos, and today I will talk about portfolio asset allocation using a genetic algorithm. The contents of this presentation are a brief introduction to the challenge, and some final remarks. Why talk about this challenge in particular? Although my background is control engineering and science, and I am used to solving quite difficult challenges using mostly Mathematica and MATLAB, and although I have some experience with building web pages using these tools. What I really like about coding is finding solutions to problems I didn't know I had or problems I created myself. Some examples of this are changing the background color of images and compressing them for web page standards, 3D printing objects larger than the workspace of my 3D printer, which you can see the process here, or as is in this case, the portfolio design and optimization. The ideas behind these are found in this book, Multi-Criteria Portfolio Construction with Python, which shows you how to select assets and how to make the allocations of those assets according to goals that you want to achieve. For example, mm, lowering the risk or achieve the most profit. In this case, I was interested in the genetic algorithm, which in summary what it does is to minimize a function. In this case it is called losses, and this function is applied on a vector of all the allocations or all of the individual allocations of the assets. So the sum of all these values is equals to 1, and at the end the result of this algorithm is the value of x that optimizes this function. The challenge was to make the code meet my needs because I wanted recent dates to be weighed more than previous dates, since assets tend to continue trends. For some of the assets, I was able to buy fractions, but for others, I only could buy them whole. And the amount of assets and how the genetic algorithm works, I needed to find a way to refine it and to make it faster. So for the first objective, I only needed to change this line of code so that older values had a smaller weight and more recent values have a larger weight. In order to account for assets that can only be bought whole, I placed them in a list. Then I applied a penalization if the value was not an integer, or it was not a whole number. And this penalization was smaller the closer it was to a whole number. I achieved this by raising to the 0.15 power. Finally, the sum of all the penalizations was multiplied by a constant in order to be able to make a comparison between this integer and this other value. Finally, in order to refine and speed up the algorithm, first I strongly penalized if the sum of all the allocations was outside a given range. This range was between 0.9 and 1. And this strong penalization was applied. What was achieved with this was that the values of x that were that received this penalization were immediately discouraged, so that there was a faster convergence to the region in which this constraint was met. And once the possible solutions were in a sweet region, that was where they are feasible and that they can be improved, I amplified the contrast between them. I did this by introducing hyperbolic tangent function so that marginal improvements or setbacks were amplified. As you can see here, the small changes in the horizontal axis are translated to larger changes in the vertical axis. And this sets apart the best solutions from what is good enough. Did this work? The short answer is yes. What I learned from this experience? Well, I put it to the test and I was satisfied with the results since they achieved the goals that I wanted. I was able to outperform the GSPC benchmark for a while and before the collapse of all the economy that happened recently. And I took home some earnings and I am willing to try this again once the market gets back on track. And currently I am reading more literature on portfolios and even trading. Hopefully I will be implementing what I learned from these books in the future. Right now I am getting deeper into coding and I can see some flaws in this approach and new ideas are coming to my mind in order to improve what I currently have. And in short, this has been an exciting journey. Thank you very much.